everybody. This is Pastor Susan, and welcome to our final day this week as we are exploring how we cultivate unity and in our community, how we create a culture of unity. And again, looking back on Monday of this week, when we looked at Ephesians chapter 4, we looked at 4 different words that can change our lives, change our family lives, and change our community, our faith community, and then it can change the world. So the 4 words, let's review them. We talked about humility. We talked about patience. We talked about gentleness. We talked about, and today we're talking about love. Humility, gentleness, patience, and love. And we know as Christians that we are called to love as God has loved us, that God so loved the world, that God sent Jesus to show us a way of loving that is totally different than the world tells us. So listen to these words from Matthew chapter 22, where Jesus is talking to a lawyer, which is not a lawyer in the sense that we think of lawyers today, but rather one who was a person who studied the law of God in the Torah. It says in verses 36 through 40 of chapter 22 in Matthew's Gospel, this lawyer questions Jesus. This is a test. That's what it says in verse 35. This lawyer says, "Teacher, which commandment in the law is the greatest?" Now let me just stop right here and say, if you go into the Torah and you count all the laws, there were 613 of them, okay? That's a lot of laws. And then there were all these things. There were lots of commentary that went on to them. And so anyway, as we know, things get amended and amended and amended. And so this lawyer is coming to Jesus and he's going to try to test him. Which is the most important commandment? Okay, so Jesus said to him, "You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart and all your soul and with all your mind. This is the greatest and first commandment. And a second is like it. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. On these 2 commandments hang all the law and the prophets." The first commandment, the greatest commandment, is that we love the Lord our God. Why? Because God created us, and God created us in the very image of God. And so to know and love God is to know and love something about ourselves as well. And then Jesus says the second's like it. You love your neighbor. You love your neighbor as you love yourself. And who is my neighbor? You know, there's a whole part in Luke's gospel about the Good Samaritan. Who is my neighbor? The one that shows mercy. When we show mercy to one another, we are being a loving neighbor. We are being living out our love of God, because that's who God is. And so today, as we are thinking about unity within the church, unity within our families, unity with our communities, love is the most important thing. Love is what generates humility and gentleness and patience. It's all because of love. And so today my prayer for us is we will consider, how can I today share the love of God and give God my love in ways that are really, really obvious, not only to ourselves, not only to God, but to others. Maybe so in your life. Maybe so in mine. Let's find at least one way today that we can share the love of God through humility, patience, and kindness. Maybe so. Amen and amen.